Hey, my name's Corey. I work for Pearson. I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of some of the features that we have available for instructors and students in Mastering A&P. What we're sitting in right now is our e-texts, and I kind of like starting here just because I think that e-texts have really come a long way the past few years, and I want to make sure that folks understand what students are getting when they're in the e-text inside Mastering. First and foremost, just a really basic part of this is that, you can click on the images, zoom in, zoom out, to kind of get a better look at them, or pronunciations, things like that. One other thing I really like about this, especially in the context of A&P, is I don't know what this word is or how to pronounce it. So if I highlight it, I can hit start audio here. Synovial. So now when I go into class, I can ask about synovial joints and not have to worry about my pronunciation. I think that this is a feature that students are going to appreciate, the more that they kind of work that into their reading habits. And from that, it kind of also brings up the idea that this entire book can be read to them. So if students are, need to catch up on some reading, and they are, washing the dishes at night, or maybe they're, driving to class, something like that, they can have that playing in the background in their car, similar to the way that, I listen to podcasts as I'm driving to work. Another thing that I really like about this is that both, instructors and students can highlight. So if there's a really important passage, they can go in, it can be color coded, yellow, green, or red. But also a feature that I really like is that instructors can highlight. Okay. And I'm going to click share note here. And I'm going to click new note and say this is on the exam. Now, every student in your class, if you're an instructor, every student in your class is going to see this note. So it kind of gives them Easter eggs along the way as they're reading on their laptop, like I'm doing right now, or as they're reading on their phone, tablet, whatever it is. You can reach out and have that engagement and communication with students as they're reading from home, at home or in their dorm room or wherever they might be. It's just one more place for us as instructors to make that connection with students. Another feature I'd already mentioned was the audiobook. We have flashcards built in, which is another great feature. We have the practice questions built in. These are organized by chapter. Right now I'm in chapter 8, so we can come down here and check it out. There are 90 flashcards pre-built for students in here. And then we also have key terms, and there are 36 key terms in the joints chapter for students to go through if they want to review. So I'll kind of close those out. A new feature is the channels feature. I'm not going to dig too much into this, but a lot of times I'll ask instructors, when students are struggling at home, where do they go for help? YouTube, right? They're going to Google it, they're going to YouTube it. And so we have a lot of videos already built into Mastering, but we've recently partnered with a company called Clutch Prep. So let me open this up. And Clutch Prep has all of these like influencer style videos. Okay, so we have this 2.5 minute long video with Dr. Matt and Dr. Mike, and these have been proofed by Pearson to make sure that they align with our content and that they're true. And that everything that Dr. Matt and Dr. Mike on YouTube are teaching students is going to align with the content in your class. So this is a new feature we have. So if students are looking for that YouTube style, influencer style content, we have all that built in here as well. I'm going to jump back over here into our mastering content. I have a couple assignments already pre-built for you to see. One thing I think that is huge as far as student engagement, time management, keeping them on track is the ability to schedule readings. So right now I'm looking at my upcoming assignments. I actually really like showing them in a calendar view. And so if I'm a student, I know Monday I need to read, by Monday I have to read chapter 8 joints. And so this is not graded, it's just something to kind of throw on their calendar and help them remember when things need to be done. Throughout the week, what I've done with my assignments is I've had these dynamic study modules, which we'll jump into here in a moment. But I have these dynamic study modules set up for students to engage with the content as they're kind of going through and reading to better understand with the chapter they just read. And then on Friday, I have an assignment set up for students as well. So let's jump into one of these dynamic study modules. Jump into the student view. These, as this is loading, these dynamic study modules are available for students as a self-study. You can assign them as practice. You can assign them as a homework grade, which is what I've done here. But I think that they're a really great tool because what they're doing is they're helping students with the content in the book. It is not an assessment. It is not meant to, evaluate how much they've learned in this chapter. It really is meant for them to engage with the content, better understand where they're struggling or content areas that they might be missing in, and then show mastery. And what it's going to do is it's going to adapt to what they know and what they don't know, and it's going to show them areas that they're struggling in. So let me I'll shoot through these. One thing you're going to notice is that I'm clicking on these twice, right? So not only am I answering the question, I'm also showing my level of confidence, and it's telling me I was sure and I was incorrect. So we've got a picture here. Okay, hopefully I get at least one of these right. One thing you'll notice as I'm going through these two is that it's not telling me what the correct answer is. The purpose, and that's built through learning science. We're not trying to tell students after every single piece, every single question they got wrong, hey, you're wrong here, and you're wrong here, go look it up. You're wrong here, go look it up. That's not the purpose of these. The purpose of these is for them to use that metacognition, evaluate how well they know the content after they've studied. Right? They can have their book open, they can have their e-text open on the side. I'm kind of racing through these because I want to get to number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think that's 8. So I've gone through 8. I was pretty confident, but I got all 8 wrong. And so instead of pushing me on to the 9th question, this is the period where I stop and review. So I went through, answered a bunch of questions to kind of show myself what I knew. And then anything I get right gets thrown out into the mastery pile. Anything that I got incorrect is going to come back in here, and it's going to tell me what I answered, what the correct answer is, and then it's going to give me content explaining why is this saddle joint carpometacarpal joint. Okay, right. So the next one. What is this area of D? I said this, it's the fibrous layer. And then down here, it's going to explain why D is the correct answer. Hopefully, as students go through these, they aren't getting 8 wrong in a row. Likely, after they've read, done a little bit of studying, been to lecture, they're going to have a lot more information. But I do think that this is a great tool for students to study on their own. Again, you can set it up as practice. You can set it up as a homework assignment, or you can even set it up as extra credit. We have those set up available for each chapter. For chapter 8, they were broken down in sections 1 through 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. And so I have those assigned in there like that. I'm going to jump into one of our homework assignments, which is, this is meant to assess. Both dynamic study modules and homework assignments are part of the learning process for students. Those dynamic study modules, students should be able to all get 100% on those. The consequence of not reading or not going to lecture or not studying is going to be that those dynamic study modules take a little bit longer. For these homework assignments, it's more of a traditional homework assignment. So I'll open this up. We definitely have like our multiple choice type questions in here, but I wanted to pull in some of the other question types that we have. So we have a drag and drop in here. For as much sports as I watch, I would think that I would maybe know where the MCL and ACL are, but ESPN doesn't typically review that. I'll submit. Okay, so I got 4 out of 5 incorrect. Hopefully students do better. I did that though. I want to walk through that because one of the kind of centerpieces of mastering is that super specific feedback. So it's telling me that, okay, so the one that I labeled wrong is the lateral condyle femur. Notice you're labeling the distal end of the femur. So it's not just telling me that I'm wrong, it's telling me why I'm wrong. And so if I read, hopefully I'd be able to get that. Right, and so we have, another question type in here that's already set up. This is a 3-part question. So I'm going to answer it, and then it says, hey, listen, no, you were incorrect. One of the parts that you were incorrect on is that rheumatism is a generalized term used for, right, yada, yada, yada. So this is the type of feedback that students are getting so that when they're doing this at 10, 11 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and, and they can't figure out the right answer in their book, they're struggling, they're getting that super specific feedback so that they can self-correct and kind of learn through the process of doing homework. So I keep having to move my face around, but we'll go on the next question type. And we have a classification of joints, assignment type. Here is more of a, more of a multiple choice question. Here we go. Let me see if I get this right. A or B and C point to the structures that can be described as. Guess ligaments. Nice, cool. And then it gives me some more feedback to let me know why that's the correct answer. Here's another multiple choice question. Here we go. And then, students they're also able to go in, and if they want to access that e-text, our review button here will link them straight out to that section that they're studying. So let me close out of that. And I'm going to back out into our main menu of mastering. I'm going to click into our study area. This is an area that's available to all students. And we have all of the assets within the book, right? The art labeling activities, interactive physiology, practice anatomy lab, the practice anatomy lab flashcards, PhysioX are all available in here. I usually tell students that, if they're studying for lab practicals or they want to practice test before an exam, this is a great place to go. We also have all of our different animations and videos in here. All of our lab manuals are also available in here. Here we go. So if you're using the green lab manual, or this is the Marib book, so we'll say you're using the Marib lab manual, all of those features and resources that are available in the lab manual are included with the lecture book. So let me kind of pause there for a moment. Okay, that was probably just a second for you all, but I was logging out and logging back in because starting this summer we have a new practice anatomy lab coming out. It's called PAL 4.0, Practice Anatomy Lab 4.0. So this is something, if you've seen PAL in the past, then you'll kind of notice that it's updated, it's a lot more user-friendly, and one of the biggest things that have changed here is that now the Practice Anatomy Lab is organized by body system. So as of right now, muscular is the only one that we have live, but within, by summer 23, the rest will be out. So I'm going to click on muscular. And then depending on what you're doing in class, you may be using a 3D model, you may be using anatomical models or human cadavers. You can click in there and students can get practice for their lab practicals. And I'll show you how. Another thing that instructors really seem to like is we also have histology available as well. But let me click into the 3D model. This is organized, here we go, interacting 3D, there we go. And so this is a new feature that we have available in PAL, is this 3D model. So students are able to, there we go, no thanks. So students are able to kind of move around and they're able to view this. They can zoom in, zoom out into different features. Let me zoom in. There we go. Oh, I'm in the muscular system. I was trying to get inside the bone, but yeah, you can get in there. There we go. So let me run back out of this real quick and get back to having the trunk. There we go. I'm going to go at anatomical models. So depending on whether you do anatomical model or cadaver, students can go in and look at those and kind of review for their lab practicals. So they have an option of doing a self-review where they can review here we go, the different muscles of the different muscles of the trunk. As they highlight around, they can, kind of see what those muscles are and kind of review. I love that there's pronunciation in there because that would have really thrown me off as a student. There we go. So as they go through self-review, kind of look at what's in here, and then they're feeling pretty confident, then they can go in and they can quiz themselves. Okay, so what muscles highlighted here? check answer, and kind of get a feel for themselves, that metacognition piece to figure out how well they understand, in this case, the muscular systems. And then the last piece of practice, as we kind of, each steps of these, the self-review, quiz, and lab practical, we're kind of removing some of those help features from them. So in self-review, they get a ton of help, right? The pronunciation, the spelling, all of it's built in for them. The quiz me, we take away a little bit of that help. We take away the pronunciation, and they're having to use multiple choice to do this. And then for the lab practical, this is where they need to go in and they're identifying with correct spelling, the highlighted muscle, joint, skeletal systems. So this is a really great feature. PAL, we've had it in here for a long time. We've kind of made some adjustments in here so that starting this summer, it's going to be a lot easier for students to navigate. But all in all, it still retains what's made PAL great. It's a great practice and study tool for students to use as they're reviewing their anatomy, content. So this has just been a really quick run through of some of the basic features that we have within Mastering. I am going to show one more thing. So I've set up a Canvas course and I've kind of linked everything up in here. I spent maybe 5 minutes building out those assignments just so you can kind of know what I've been doing so far and what's gone into it. But one thing that I really love about doing this integration into your LMS, whether you're using Blackboard or Canvas or Moodle, it's all essentially the same, is that we can set up each of these homework assignments and link them directly along with the grades. Link the assignments in the assignment area, link the grades into your grade book, so that as students are going through and doing their homework, if you want, you can have it all directly built into your LMS. So there's no reason for them to go into Mastering if you want to set it up that way. So that's something that I have set up here. I just wanted to kind of show you what that looks like. So those dynamic study modules re-reviewed are right in here. So we can get in there. Students can do those in here. As grades start flowing in for my students, that will all update here in the grade book. It's a pretty easy process to do. It's something that we're happy to help with. So please reach out to myself or your on-campus learning consultant. We'll be happy to get you set up with a demo course so you can kind of play around on your own as well. Thanks.